Hey everybody, Tiffany here on Bewitching.Bemused. Today we're going to cover Pets and Magic Part 2. If you didn't catch Part 1, I will link it down below in the description box for you to watch. Please forgive the bit of mess and the echoey quality. I am not in my usual filming space, so bear with me. In Part 1, we talked about some broad and kind of foundational practices of things that you can do to incorporate magic in your pet's life to improve their quality of life, as well as ways that you can incorporate your pets into your life. But again, those were a little bit more broad and general. Today we're going to get a little bit more specific, starting with channeling energy with your pet. Last time I sort of briefly touched on how you can incorporate your pet in circle casting. You can also bring them into your circle to offer them protection, but there's so much more that you can do with this. So invite your pet into your sacred space when you are meditating or casting a spell. And as you are channeling energy, grounding and centering and visualizing your intention, you can also envision their energy expanding and meshing with your own. This blending can create a much stronger force. And so you can use this works great if you are trying to do a spell or a ritual for them, but it's also to incorporate them as part of your spell correspondence, essentially. So letting their energy and what they represent work in your favor to empower your spell. Not only that, but you can use them for circle casting, right? So cats are great for warding off negative energy. Dogs are great for guardianship and protection, as well as grounding and stability. Another energy related practice is to channel positive energy into them. Just sit with your pet, give them a little cuddle, focus, ground, and center. Take whatever energy you have and imbue it with whatever. It doesn't just have to be general positivity, although that's wonderful too, but it could just be an outpouring of love to them. It could be healing energy. If you have an anxious pet, it could be a soothing, comforting energy. And just channel it directly through your hands while you are petting your pet, if they like being petted. But if they're, for instance, a bird and they don't care for it, maybe you're holding them on 2 fingers and you can just channel it directly through that way. You can, of course, always use energy channeling tools if that's what you prefer, like an athame or a wand. But I love, with living creatures like this, I love just channeling it directly through my hands. Not only is this a gift of positive energy for your pet, but it's also a wonderful and soothing and calming bonding exercise for both of you. You can also use a pet to help you work with deity. Now, just to be clear, I absolutely do not mean providing a pet as an offering to a deity. Not what I'm talking about. But they can be used as a connection between yourself and your patron deity. Most gods and goddesses have at least one, if not more, totem animals. So taking one of their totem animals on as your pet and taking care of them, providing them with a home and food, shelter, love, vet appointments, good health, this is a wonderful offering for a deity. And when you have their presence in your home, this kind of provides a bit of a connection already with that deity, opening channels of communication and such. So for instance, if you have a dog in your home, you providing love to them and just their very presence can provide a connection between yourself and Hecate. A raven with Odin, if you have pet ravens or if you have ravens outside that you feed, it doesn't always have to be a pet directly in your home, just maybe an animal that you are providing some sort of offering to, right? A cat and Bastet, and the list goes on because, like I said, most gods and goddesses have at least one animal that they are associated with. Next are pet ingredients, magical ingredients. And I did touch on this a bit in the last video, but I just wanted to get a little bit more specific on things you can do with your pet's items. So last time I really focused on how you can use their shedded fur, their whiskers, if their baby teeth fell out, things like that. So now let's talk about some of the things that you can use them for. So I think one of the most obvious ones is that you can take these items and you can put them into charm bags as well as jar spells. So if you have a car charm bag, you could put a bird's feather in there for smooth traveling. If you're putting together a protection, like a witch's ball or a jar for protection for your house, You could put dog fur in there or a dog whisker in there as kind of guardianship, protection. If you're putting together a witch's ball or a witch's bottle for protection of your home, you could put some of your dog's fur in there or one of their, shedded whiskers, and that could provide protection. Whiskers are also great because they represent sensing. And so, it might be like an alert. You're putting that in there to provide alertness if something is going on your property, or that you would wake up in the middle of the night, right? And be like, wait, something's off, right? So whiskers are tied to senses. Dogs are tied to alertness, guardianship, protection. So, that right there is a whole lot of good correspondences for it. I've mentioned this many times before when I was putting together a fertility pouch for when I was trying to get pregnant. I put some of my rabbit's fur in there. Clearly that worked. I got pregnant on the first cycle, and now I have the most amazing toddler.
I'm in the middle of editing, and I wanted to pop in to add that animal feces can be used in curse jars.
That said, you can also create talismans with your pet's paw or claw prints. You can use craft clay, salt dough. You can also just use, a non-toxic ink pad and print their little paw or claw print right onto paper. Just press their little foot or hand into, whatever device that you're using. And then once it's dry, you can bless it with whichever intention you wanted to apply. You can also just use it as something to connect you to your pet if you're traveling and you're worried about them or you just miss them. But you can also use it to harness the energy of what your pet represents. So maybe a cat paw print would go under your pillow for psychic dreams. But you can use these for a million different things. You can carry them with you, put them on your altar, put them in the place of where you want it to be used and have that energy utilized, and so on. You can also use these offerings as charmed tokens. So instead of doing a full jar with the whole backing ritual or a charm bag, you can also just use the simple item. So even just keeping that small token from your pet and keeping it on your person and charge it with that energy of using it to correspond with the intention you want it for, you can just carry that with you like any other type of amulet or charm or talisman. Next, I want to talk about using pets as guardians between realms. Many traditions look at animals as protectors of the spiritual world. Now, this can be heavily reliant on the region, the tradition, the culture, right? So some are going to look at cats, while others are going to look at owls or specific birds, ravens, crows, dogs, perhaps, or wolves. However, I think it's fair to say that you can really channel that with just about any animal. And especially because you and your pet should be bonded and close, so they have their own need to want to protect you. Their presence during your magical work can protect you during that time, but also when you are passing through liminal spaces, they can help protect and guide you. So specifically, let's look at like dream work and astral travel. If your pet sleeps near you, and if they have the same sleeping patterns as you, so they're not like a nocturnal animal, you can have them use their energy as sort of a protective barrier for you during dream work. Of course, astral projection and astral travel, you can do that at any point in time of the day or night. And so I would just suggest having your pet near you, whether they're sleeping or not. Before that activity or before sleep, I would take a token of theirs, so fur, whisker, or even just a picture of them, and tuck it under your pillow or have it on your person, and use that to help channel a grounding presence, especially because that does help to tether you a little bit, not restrictively, but it does help to tether you. And you can just pet them good night and request that they provide a protective and grounding presence for you and watch over you during your travels. Then there's also communing with animal spirits. Your pet can act as a bridge between yourself and other animal spirits. During meditation or divination, ask your pet to guide you to connect with their kin. This can be especially powerful if you are looking to work with land or local nature spirits, other totem animals, archetypes, or if you're looking to connect with a particular deity, as I mentioned earlier. Final section is the sad one. It's talking about working with deceased pets. If you've watched any of my ancestor videos, ancestor veneration, honoring them, working with them, I always mention pets deceased pets can absolutely act as one of your ancestors. And so working with deceased pets can be part of your already ongoing ancestral work, if that's part of your practice, or it can just be its own thing. The bond that you have with a pet, that can sometimes be actually even stronger than the bond that you might have with certain people in your life, or who have passed through your life, or previous, ancestors up the line that you maybe never got a chance to meet. And that bond absolutely transcends physical boundaries. I know I've had beloved pet dogs pass away, and then for the next few months, I'd be standing in the kitchen or at my bathroom vanity or something, and I would feel a presence like rub against my leg, just the same way that the dog would. I've had 2 different dogs do that, and it's so comforting. I mean, it's so sad, but it's so comforting, and that tells me everything I need to know right there. They're still there, and they're still making their presence known. They're still watching over me. They still want to be with me. They're still providing comfort for me. So absolutely make use of that and invite them to continue to be a presence in your life. And some ways that you can do this are, first, with a memorial altar, just like you would with ancestor veneration. Create a sacred space. It could just be a little shelf. It could be a part of your bigger ancestral altar or death altar. It could be a part of your regular practicing altar. It could even just be a picture of your pet hung on the wall. But this is just a space to have in their memory and to honor them. You can have their picture, you can have maybe their favorite toy, again, some of their fur or their whiskers, a paw print, their cremated remains if you have those. Like I said, this is a place for keeping them in your thoughts and memories, honoring them. This is a place that you can put out offerings of perhaps their favorite treats, a bowl of water, a new toy. Also, one thing I love to do is giving them things that they could not eat in life, but they really wanted, right? You can't feed your living dog chocolate. You just can't do it. It's really bad for them and it could kill them. But if your dog's already dead, I'm just saying, I think they might like that as an offering. Just make sure it's not in a place where any currently living dogs could get to it, of course. And just like you would with your ancestors, just, place out offerings occasionally. Let them know that you still love them and you cherish their presence in your life as it continues. Maybe they're working within your practice as well. Then, of course, there is spirit work. So if you feel called to during ritual work, you can call upon their spirit and ask them to work with you, kind of the same way that you would with a living pet, like I said, so channeling their energy. But they can do a lot more for you that a living pet currently cannot. So you can also request that they assist in your magical endeavor the same way that you would ask a deity to do so, or another ancestor. And finally, again, just like with any other ancestor, you can also request guidance from them. Whether that is just helping you make a decision or answering a question that you have, or helping you find a path in life if you feel a little lost or stuck in a certain area. They love you so much. They have your best interest at heart, like regardless of their currently living or deceased status. So it's just a matter of calling upon their spirit and requesting that they provide this guidance for you. Let them know, just talk to them. You can light a candle for them if you want, put it on an offering, but just let them know where you feel lost or confused, where you would like some clarification or a guiding presence, or somebody just points you in the right direction, or just even some kind of sign. However, what I would say with this, and I say this for any time anybody's asking the universe for any kind of sign or guidance, whether that is the universe in general, the ancestors, deity, spirits, spirit guides, I always recommend that you request that it comes in the form of your dreams. And this is also why it's crucial to keep a dream journal that helps you remember your dreams more, and then you can look back and stop and really analyze what's going on in your dreams. When you just ask for a sign, just give me a sign, we as humans, it's an evolutionary trait that we look for patterns in things. And so sometimes we tend to see things that aren't really there, and sometimes they are, but I do feel like there's a lot more room for miscommunication when that's the case. So personally, it's totally up to you guys, but personally, I recommend you focus on just asking that they make their answer known in the communication of your dreams. And part of the beauty of that is like, they could show up in the form that you remember them in and literally like guide you. And they go, hey, follow me, and then like literally walk you down a path, you know? That's the other thing too. Dreams can be full of symbolism, and yet they just tend to be clearer, in my opinion, than just kind of general, give me a sign. In your waking life, right? If you want more information on how to interpret your own dreams and why you should work on interpreting and analyzing your own dreams as opposed to Googling, what does this mean in a dream? I do have a video on that, so I'll link that down below. And that's actually the end of this video. Thanks for tuning in. So I'll also link part 1 and that other video right over here.